Hello out there in Utah. I hope everyone is well. Thank you for joining me for today's presentation, Tools and Tips for Businesses, a COVID-19 Recovery Framework. This session covers tactical tips and best practices across a variety of free digital tools that tourism and hospitality businesses can use to help inspire confidence in consumers who are traveling during and after the pandemic. I'm Kim Palmer. I am the Google Program Director at Miles Partnership. I had the opportunity to meet many of you in Logan last year. Miles Partnership is a strategic marketing company focused exclusively on travel and tourism. We've worked with hundreds of destinations and hospitality businesses around the world to create forward-thinking content marketing solutions. My team works on the Google DMO program, where we've worked with hundreds of businesses and destinations on how to optimize their presence on Google and leverage the tools within Google My Business. Right now, customer confidence is critical to the success of your business. Safety is top of mind for today's travelers, and they need information that they can trust before they will choose to visit. Research is showing us that information about hours opening and closing are some of the top priorities for travelers coming out of COVID-19. So today we're going to talk about 3 keys for inspiring confidence with travelers: establishing safety, sharing information, and growing visibility. Now, I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on establishing safety. You know, we need to take the steps to keep customers, employees healthy. And I'm sure you've already done many of these things. You have a great program in Stay Safe to Stay Open in Utah, and guidance from trusted sources, including the CDC, the U.S. Travel Association, the Utah Department of Health, and other professional organizations, such as the American Hotel and Lodging Association, can provide great guidance for reopening and maintaining a healthy environment in your business. But what I would like to point out is that safety doesn't have to be boring. There are numerous examples of businesses that have found ways to incorporate social distancing and other safety protocols that have been effective and fun. So get creative with some solutions for your business and give customers a reason to feel safe. In the example above, these are inner tube tables that were created by the Fishtails Bar and Grill in Ocean City, Maryland, to sort of enforce social distancing for folks who were taking advantage of a beer on the waterfront there. But my personal favorite is the social distancing skunk ape from Gatorland in Orlando, Florida. I mean, really, who is better at social distancing than the elusive skunk ape? So really have fun with it if you can. Be genuine with your customers, and it can really go a long way. According to TripAdvisor's white paper on COVID-19 just this past May, 86% of consumers say cleanliness will be very important when selecting an accommodation after COVID-19. And 82% said that the disinfecting of high contact surfaces will be a very important consideration when they're deciding to book tours, activities, and other attractions. So once you've established your safety, what I really would like to talk about today is sharing that information with your customers and your potential customers. Make sure that they know what's different now. First, let's start with our highest visibility platforms. The proverbial elephant in the room, of course, is Google. Google owns the search space, and maybe even more importantly, Google Maps has become an integral tool in travel planning, travel experience, and frankly, with the local experience as well. According to Google's economic impact data from 2019, the Maps product generates 3 billion direct connections between businesses and users each and every month. The Skift deep dive on Google from early 2020 said that of those who use navigation apps as part of leisure travel, 79% of them choose to use Google Maps. And finally, what you're seeing here on the left-hand side of the screen is called the Explore Nearby feature in Google Maps. This was launched in early 2019, and by Q4 of 2019, Focusrite's Travel Technology Survey found that 67% of respondents cited the use of Explore Nearby as part of researching and booking a recent trip. So that's a really high level of both recognition and adoption for a fairly new tool set. In addition, research by Bright Local indicates that Google My Business signals are the leading factor in what businesses show up in local search results. Yelp is also a very important platform, particularly for restaurants. Yelp has more than 178 million unique visitors monthly across mobile, desktop, and app platforms. 45% of customers are likely to check Yelp reviews before visiting a business, and 35% of people searching on Yelp will make a visit to the site within 24 hours of having looked them up on Yelp. In the travel space, TripAdvisor is still used very frequently in research and planning a vacation. They have 463 million unique visitors monthly. And according to a survey they did in May, folks were spending up to 5 hours in the last week planning their next trip post COVID-19. And 53% of respondents said they would do more research than they used to when planning a current trip. And finally, Facebook. While we certainly work with Facebook as a social media platform primarily, it's also important to acknowledge that you likely have a business page on Facebook that contains a lot of the core information about your business as well. With 2.7 billion monthly active users, that's quite a bit of reach for your information. And in fact, 76% of 18 to 34-year-old travelers who are weekly Facebook users say that they use Facebook for travel-related activities. So these are really the highest visibility platforms for your business. So let's talk about how you can distribute updates across those platforms. Here are some best practices for sharing information. First, share updates across multiple platforms because you don't always know where potential customers are looking for information about your business. Don't post just once. This is not a one and done effort. You need to maintain information for as long as it seems relevant. And if customers see that something has not been updated for weeks or months, they may not trust that information. Provide visitors with helpful information about current circumstances. Focus on safety information for visitors and employees, as well as changes to services or products. Be brief. If you need to provide more detailed information, link these posts to your website. And finally, be genuine. Folks are looking for accurate information, and as we've all heard quite a few times now, we're really all in this together, and everyone who is coming to your business is also trying to figure out how they are managing the current circumstances. So let's talk about Google My Business. Google My Business has a feature called Posts. Posts allow you to share updates directly on your business listing, which shows up in search results, Google Maps, and many more. So once you're logged into Google My Business, you need to go over to the Posts tab there on the left and hit this Create button in the bottom right-hand corner to get started. Posts are available for most business types except for hotels. During COVID-19, Google has added a COVID-19 update format to posts. so that you can create a COVID specific information post for your business. Posts are great because they are free. There's no cost per click. And as you can see in the example here, they take up quite a bit of real estate on your business listing. They're very visual. You can include images or videos in your posts, um, and they are trackable. You control where the post links through to. And if you use Google Analytics campaign tracking codes, you can actually include that in those links as well. So Google Posts are a great way to engage your audience on your most current information. Similarly, in March, Yelp released a new COVID-19 update feature so businesses could share information directly on their listing. Since then, in June, Yelp actually expanded the details that a business could provide surrounding its operations during COVID-19. This includes a banner message down here. What you see here on the left is the interface for providing coronavirus updates on Yelp. So you can include a banner message on your page, update your hours of operation, and feature different offerings and what additional safety measures you have in place. This is what this looks like in your Yelp listing. So you can see the banner message here, the items selected or deselected for the services that are available, as well as those health and safety measures. Interestingly, the health and safety measures can also be confirmed by your customers. So you can see several of these here have also been confirmed by Yelp users. To do this, you'll need to claim your business listing on Yelp if you haven't already, and you can get started at biz.yelp.com. Business pages in Facebook have access to new information and functionality via the COVID-19 tab, which is accessible for business page owners. You can find out more information about the new COVID-19 update functionality, as well as access a list of resources for small businesses navigating the pandemic. Facebook's COVID-19 update feature was created to help you share specific information, much like what was done in Google My Business and in Yelp. So you can see here, you can choose COVID-19 update for your Facebook business page. And these should be used to highlight new services, changes in availability, and new safety practices. COVID-19 updates also get more visibility in the Facebook universe, if you will, than a regular post. So let's talk about business hours. Business hours are the number one thing that customers search for online. So it's really critical that your business hours are up to date. They impact the visibility of your listing across many different platforms, particularly when people are searching for open now. Business hours also impact customer confidence. If someone can't figure out whether or not your business is open, they're likely to go somewhere else instead. There are two different ways you can update business hours in these platforms, depending on whether the changes you're making to operating hours are short-term or long-term. If your hours have changed, let's look at how to make sure they're correct and consistent online. First, let's start with Google My Business. For long-term changes to your business hours, use the Business Hours section in Google My Business, which is underneath the Info tab. These are for updates that are going to be consistent for the foreseeable future. So, for example, if you are no longer going to be open on Mondays. There's a separate section in Google My Business called Special Hours, which is directly below Business Hours. These are meant for changes to your business on individual dates. Now, this is normally used to address holiday hours or react to weather incidents and other emergency circumstances where your business may be closed unexpectedly. But in the environment we're in right now, this is a great way to address short-term changes for your hours if you have limited hours when initially reopening. Finally, in June, Google added a new custom hours feature for businesses. It's called More Hours and is located in the Info tab, and it allows you to specify different types of hours by category. So you can see here the options include drive-through, happy hour, senior hours, takeout, etc. So if you have unique hours for these offerings, you can enter them into Google here. There's also a business hours and special hours functionality in Yelp, so that you can create a short-term schedule of changes that will be highlighted as special hours, as you can see here in green, when someone looks at your listing. You'll find this option under the Business Information tab of Yelp for Business. You can edit your regular business hours or keep scrolling down to upcoming special hours and then enter dates for specific changes. You may have noticed on the previous screen as well, within the COVID-19 update area of Yelp, there is also a place to update your hours. Business hours and holiday hours also exist on Facebook. You can see your hours available in your Facebook listing, and Facebook will highlight whether or not you are open now. There is also a update temporary service changes feature where you can indicate whether you are open with service changes, temporarily closed, or operating as usual in your Facebook listing. Let's move on to attributes and amenities. Attributes can influence your business's visibility. They help to identify the relevance of your business for specific types of user searches. So when you have complete and accurate amenity information, you'll be visible to more people who are actively searching for what you offer. There is considerable value in attributes, even beyond the recently added options related to COVID-19. So, for example, users may be searching for wheelchair accessible businesses, kid-friendly establishments, or other audience-specific needs. Lately, we've seen Google highlighting women-led, Black-led, and veteran-led businesses in search results as well. If your services have changed, make sure that they're reflected in the attributes section of Google My Business. So within Google My Business, we're still in that Info tab, and you'll see the Attributes button. There have been new ones added in just the last few months, in particular, no contact delivery and curbside pickup. So if you are offering some of these new services, make sure that you have selected them. Attributes also influence your visibility. So for example, here we're looking at Google Maps, and you can see that dine-in, curbside pickup, and delivery are all called out in these listings with check boxes if they're available and X's if they are not, making it really easy for the visitor to scroll through and know whether or not those services are available. You'll also see in Google Maps a buttons that have been added here front and center for folks to narrow their map search for takeout and delivery as well. You also should make sure your services are accurate within Yelp. Much like Google, attributes around delivery, takeout, and other virtual service options have been added. If you're outside of the restaurant industry, you should also check for new virtual service options, including virtual consultations, virtual classes, virtual tours, and virtual performances. On Facebook, you'll find a section called Update Temporary Service Changes, where you can select things like online services, delivery, pickup, and other changes. You can see where those updates are featured in green in your business listing here on Facebook. So let's move on to growing the visibility of your listing. Here are a few best practices that will make your listing more visible on these platforms. And actually, a couple of them we've already talked about. Recent research shows us that business listings who are using Google My Business posts regularly are actually showing up more frequently and higher up in local search results. In addition, the more up to date your hours, services, and attributes are, the more likely you're going to show up for searches that are specific to services or attributes that you have, or for searches related to being open now, open tomorrow, etc. All in all, these help generate long tail search visibility. So let's move on to looking at having high quality listing photos. Having high quality listing photos for your business can increase the likelihood of a visitor showing up in person by 2 times. Also, monitoring and responding to your customer reviews really demonstrates your responsiveness and can increase conversion. So pay attention to your images. Photos are a key part of how potential customers make decisions about your business. Listings with high quality photos double their likelihood of having engagement with those customers. And this applies across all platforms. Make sure that the best images that you have available for your business are in both Google My Business, Yelp, and Facebook. A recently added feature to Google My Business is the ability to choose your own cover photo for your listing, as well as add your logo. We highly recommend that you use a consistent logo with what you're using on social media, particularly Instagram. As you can see, it's the same sort of shape and format, so you can have some branding consistency across those platforms. Now, this is some research done by Bright Local that indicates that businesses with more than 100 images in their profile have a significantly higher conversion rate. So in Google My Business, our conversions are website visits, directions requests, and phone calls. And this research shows that the folks that had over 100 images in their gallery also had 377% more conversions, customer actions in their profile. Additionally, those with over 100 images had higher exposure rates. This is showing us that this category showed up more frequently in both discovery searches and direct searches by almost 300%. What we have found with our own work in the hospitality industry is that adding 4 to 5 photos per month can increase the lift in exposures by 10 to 30%. So we do recommend that you create kind of a content calendar to remind yourself to post some new photos really a couple of times a month on an ongoing basis to grow both that volume and the frequency of uploading photos, because both of those seem to influence how high up in search results a business will appear. Finally, stay on top of your reviews. 86% of consumers read reviews for local businesses. 57% say they will only use businesses if they have 4 or more stars. And 89% of consumers read businesses' responses to reviews. This all comes from a recent Bright Local survey on local consumer reviews. Now, this chart is from Uberall, And this is looking at the consumer conversion rate based on the star rating of your business reviews. What you can see here is that a ratings increase from 3.7 stars to 4.4 stars can increase your conversion rate by 80 to 20%. You should also be targeting an average rating of 4.4 or higher, because you can see here that is the area that provides the maximum conversion rate. In order to respond to your customer reviews, you have to know where and when they are happening. In Google My Business, you can set up a reminder to yourself to get an email every time a new review is posted. And you can use the Google My Business tool to respond to reviews. And across all of these platforms we've talked about today, Yelp, TripAdvisor, and Facebook, all of these provide an opportunity for you to respond to both positive and negative reviews. Some of the best practices for responding to reviews are, first of all, to really just let minor complaints slide and address issues constructively. Don't use your responses to advertise. Don't offer anything in return for your reviews, and be professional and polite. We also highly recommend that you keep responses to negative reviews short and encourage them to contact you offline by providing specific information of who they should reach out to help resolve your problem. That demonstrates to other potential customers that you are working to resolve the issue without getting into an online back and forth with an unhappy customer that really creates a lot of negative drama that folks are going to want to read and will reflect badly on your business. In order to grow your star rating, encourage reviews from your happy customers in all of your follow-up and personal outreach. Some of the most common ways in which consumers are expecting to be asked for a review are in person during the sale, via email, over the phone, on receipts, and in text messages. Google My Business recently added a new way that you can do this more easily. You can go into the Info tab and set up what's called a short name for your business. Short names are unique and have to be based off your display name, existing branding, current custom URLs, and the name of your linked website. What a short name allows you to do is distribute your Google Business profile and the ability to write reviews in a really short, easy URL. So it's basically g.page/your short name or g.page/your short name/review. So this is much easier to put into your emails, your social media posts, anywhere that you are digitally asking for a review. We also encourage you to check out the free marketing kit that Google has made available for businesses. It is marketingkit.withgoogle.com. This provides you with free stickers, posters, social posts, table tents, etc., that indicate your Google business profile and give you some tools to help encourage more reviews from your customer. Google has also released a COVID-19 update toolkit. If you would like, you can download and print posters and window clings, etc., that feature things like we're open for takeout, we're open for delivery. You can tailor that message to your business, and it will be a custom Google My Business printout in that. So thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope this has been a helpful guide for inspiring confidence with travelers. When you're running a business on a day-to-day basis, it can really be a challenge to set aside time to engage with your digital presence as well. But I really encourage you to try to carve out, 15, 20 minutes a few times a week to check in with your Google profile, your Yelp profile, TripAdvisor, Facebook, etc., to really follow some of the tools and techniques that we've talked about today. It will both grow your visibility and inspire confidence in your customers and potential customers. Thank you for joining me. And if you have any follow-up questions, you can reach me at kim.palmer@milespartnership.com. Thank you and have a great day.